Mayor Brandon Johnson is asking Chicago companies with more than 100 employees to pay up to help fund crucial public safety services, namely through a proposed corporate head tax. It would charge larger companies $20 per employee per month to do business in Chicago. And it's receiving some pushback, but the mayor says it's a reasonable proposal.
Asking our corporate partners to put a little bit more skin in the game so that we don't continue to balance budgets off the backs of working people, I think that's a reasonable service and expectation.
And joining us now is Tom Tunny, proprietor of Ann Sather's Restaurants and former alderman of the 44th Ward. He wrote an op-ed in Crane Chicago Business today opposing this tax. Tom, great to see you in your habitat. I'm glad we were able to rip you out of the kitchen for a couple minutes so you could talk about this. You heard the mayor there. What is wrong with asking some of the larger corporations to put some more skin in the game?
Well, as you know, Paris, first of all, thank you for having me. Corporations, even in the last few years, have put in monies for public safety on their own initiative. So it's not like corporations are not doing their fair share. Number two is, corporations are, and companies in general, supply our workforce. And having people working in corporations large and small are vital to our Chicago economy to keep growing. So we do not need to penalize employers for adding to their payrolls. It's counterintuitive.
And this, as I understand, would only impact businesses with 100 employees or more. So would Ann Sather be spared? And if so, what's the problem if small businesses are spared?
Well, first of all, you know, Paris, that every business starts out with very few employees or on the back of a napkin, cocktail napkin. And we need, as a city, to make sure that we are the incubator for business growth, business retention, and people to put their stakes down here in Chicago. So while Ann Sather's traditionally was a head tax employer, our payroll has diminished under 100 employees, but that would give me every disincentive not to grow my company here in Chicago and to add more staff to my existing operation. So it's going to affect large and small employers. It'll affect new employers from coming into the market, and it will also make employers think twice about locating in the city or relocating in areas where they don't have a head tax, never mind the suburbs or Northwest Indiana. It's a big problem.
Do you think if big companies, big like McDonald's, chief innovation officer there wrote an op-ed, if some of these big corporate partners in Chicago relocate, does that have a ripple effect?
Well, it definitely does, because most of the employees here that work for McDonald's live in Chicago. So if the company moves, they're going to move out of town with their consumer dollars. And that's going to affect all neighborhood businesses. And neighborhood businesses are the lifeblood of Chicago. And we've got to make sure that they have every incentive to stay, to grow, and to keep Chicago growing. That's the only way we're going to get out of our financial mess in this town.
And that was my next question. Now, you're no longer in City Council. You were for many, many years having all these discussions about how to plug a budget deficit, but there is a $1.15 billion deficit. How else can the city go about plugging this, if not a tax like this?
Well, the biggest problem with this budget is there are no cost reductions. There were thousands of employees hired for COVID response. The city, my belief is, added between 2,000 and 3,000 employees, not public safety employees, but human service employees, and they were necessary at the time. COVID money has dried up, and these positions need to be eliminated because there is no federal monies coming in. And I think that's one of the problems with people's lack of confidence in this administration. There needs to be cuts. People are realistic about revenue, but there's no sign that this mayor is at all interested in reducing headcount. I believe it's in a couple of hundred, which are vacant positions already.
Former Alderman Tom Tunny we're speaking with, and the proprietor of Ann Sather Restaurant. Your name has been bandied about as a potential candidate for mayor. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Well, keep putting taxes like this, and I will strongly consider it.
All right. Thank you, Paris. And I know that you've got some cinnamon rolls there too. We can't have an Ann Sather segment without you showing some of the cinnamon rolls. What's the secret to your cinnamon rolls?
There you go. A lot of love and attention. That's the real key.
Love and attention. There it is. Okay, as always, keep up with the news you need to know at fox32chicago.com. Thanks to Tom Tunny. We're back tomorrow. Good night.